Hello everyone, Burb here. Today I'll be talking about late surgers in the Cancer Cup. This is a specific role guide. It builds off of the CM overview I did about a week ago. If you need that, that goes over the track overview as well as justifications for stat requirements, and will get you started parent building by going over the good parents for all four of the different styles. Today, we are specifically talking about late surger. I'm going to go over your skills, tell you why they work, when they work, try to make a priority list, all that, as well as where to find them on the cards. And then finally, I will go over the characters. Something that I added last CM is I'm going to make a late surger or two and give an example of what I think is a very good late surger and how the deck sort of gets built up and the skills all go and work together at that point. It's been quite useful for people, so I'm going to keep doing it. So there's a lot to go through today. I don't know how long this is going to take, so I'm just going to start. Let's talk about late surgers. Are late surgers good? They are. Now, I think people are overestimating their ability a little bit. We do have a lot of tools, and that's been the thing that's been stated by a lot of people. We have additional accelerations over other characters, other roles rather, and that allows us to hit higher amounts of accelerations if we get lucky. Now, the thing is, the quality of our tools drastically goes down after the same excels that the other roles have. So it's just we have a lot more ways to supplement the same things that end closers get. And the problem with late surgers is always still that our stuff requires back half of the pack, which means in certain lobby compositions, or if we get too many pace ups, our characters just shut off. So we still need to make sure that we're grabbing the stuff that is not position bound so that we can succeed, and we're still slower than end closers, but we can hold our own this champions meeting because we do have additional accelerations and additional tools at our disposal to help with the disparity, as opposed to the last champions meeting where we were fighting against straightaway spurt and we couldn't really do much. So we're good. We are not completely oppressive. What is oppressive is Christmas Oguri. So when we're talking about skills this CM, remember that the bearing to combat Christmas Oguri is roughly 5 to 6 lengths. So take all that into account when I'm showing you graphs, that you have to go and change certain amounts of skills to reach that 5 to 6 length mark to sort of match Christmas Oguri in that respect. The stats are not any different than any other ones for this one. Late surgers can drop about 50 stamina and be fine. You could do 800, 550, but I'm just going to keep it at the same as before. They are on screen. We'll talk about them at the end. Your primary accelerations should be Measure of Dober. I think this is the one acceleration you should really get. You can supplement it with Let's Pump Some Iron as well for the 0.4 in 6th position in particular, but 5th and 6th without a rush for 4.2 lengths is incredibly efficient. I think this should be the primary goal, is to get into 6th position as a late surger. Now you can supplement this with some secondary accelerations, and you'll notice on your left is not on this list. That is a tertiary acceleration. We'll talk about that, but I think as a late surger you need something that is not position bound. The problem with On Your Left and with From the Brink is that it's back half dependent. So if you're doing too well, you're going to push forward into 4th place, and then you're just going to watch as your character can't hit anything because now you don't have Dober ult and you don't have any of your back half pack skills. So I think you need something like No Stopping Me or Nimble Navigator. At least grab a white skill, or Egg Power, Egg Guts from Unity Cup from your parents, or Radiant Star if you can't get anything else. Now, Radiant Star is not efficient this CM, but it's at least something that's not position bound that you can high roll when you are pushing forward. And when you're pushing forward into 4th and 3rd position on those lucky pace up ones, you don't need much to get you to take the win at that point. So something in this realm where there's no positions to worry about is quite good. The best one of these is, of course, No Stopping Me or Nimble Navigator. Try to grab this one, at least the white skill. I know Bijan sacrifices a lot in your deck. I don't think you need to borrow her. I think you can cope with just the white Nimble Navigator and be fine. After that, you can supplement with On Your Left and From the Brink, and it is not a bad option. They are a 1 in 3. However, unlike the last CM, they don't have guaranteed value this time. If you're in the back half of the pack, you can still just miss. 2 out of 3 times, you're going to get less than a gold skills worth of value from them. So these are pure gambling accelerations that are meant to supplement your moving past and beyond, specifically in 6th place for On Your Left as well. They are good. They're not required, of course. Then there's accelerations that are just probably too much of a gamble. Corner Connoisseur this time is basically a 1 in 8 to get something significant, so it's quite difficult. Gold City Ultimate, keep it real, is probably going to proc too early because its overtake is just finicky and it probably will proc, but it is a gamble option. I Never Goof Up requires a pass at the proper time, which is going to be a little bit tough on this corner 3 track. And Dauntless is, of course, just a weaker version of Radiant Star at the moment, so you probably should just take Radiant Star. Thunderbolt Step is a 1 in 10 if you prefer. I don't think any of these are efficient. And I don't also suggest that you take any final corner accelerations. I said this in the overview video. But Final Corner is a little bit too late. You were fighting against Christmas Oguri. You need to hit 0.4 in order to fight against her. And when you hit 0.4, as you can see, stuff like Connor's Fury, stuff like Redshift, these are all the same accels, go from having 1.75 lengths to literally nothing. So a 0.4 accel, like a No Stopping Me proc, is going to completely clear out any Final Corner accelerations. Dancing in the Leaves is purely just a speed skill, which means it is not the greatest inherit as well. Early race accelerations are interesting because it's something new. I try to add a little tidbit into these to learn outside of just telling you what skills to buy and not. And Highlander and Fighter are normally not great. Now, Highlander has, there's 2 uphills on this track. It can choose in the early race or the late race, but it does something really funny. As you can see, it does get a ridiculous amount of value here in the early race. And the reason why that is that this uphill actually transfers from the opening leg into the middle race. So late surgers and end closers have a very low early race speed. That is why the front runners and the pace chasers by proxy can get in front of us in that early race. It's not just PDM, it's we literally have our speed capped at some point. That is somewhat released in the mid race. So what does that mean? Well, that means our target speed gets increased at some point, and whenever we have a target speed increase, even though it's not at our max speed, that means that we have acceleration. And when that acceleration happens is when we swap into section 5 and our target speed increases. Well, if our acceleration skill procs at that point, it still counts as early race acceleration like a groundwork does. So Highlander has basically a 1 in 2 chance to give a gold skills value worth of acceleration and a 1 in 2 chance to give like absolutely nothing. So it is a gamble. However, technically it is 0.86, which means it's a 0.44 expected value, which means it's better than a white skill. So it's something to consider taking. It's just ridiculously hard to get from parents, honestly. It's one of the hardest skills to loop. Now, Fighter technically can do the same thing with a late proc, but this skill is very finicky and is super hard to proc, to be honest. However, what I will say is if there ever was a track that Fighter would be a skill that exists and can do stuff, and if Hard Worker could do the same thing, it would be this track. Now, there isn't a track that does that, and I don't suggest picking up Hard Worker, but if you think about it, the entire early race, because of shrewd step timing and groundwork timing and Umamusume and all that, added on to the fact that the uphill also works, means that the actual active time period for it is like a whole 400 meters, which is kind of crazy. However, I still do not suggest Fighter because it simply just doesn't decide to proc because of the is overtake condition, okay? But, you know, it's something at least. Umamusume's good though, and that's the early race skill you should really get. I've been sort of talking about this because it was just fascinating to me that this has such a large active zone when it's bad, let's be honest, but Umamusume is good. It can PDM break you. It's greater than 2100 meters as a 2200 meter track, and it gives you more than a white skill's worth of value. So it's like 2 to 3 white skills if it procs at perfect timing, which it should, because there should be at least 2 other backliners around you. Otherwise, straight skills are good. Late surger straights, medium straights. Beeline burst is great as well. They are able to be clipped at the end of the race. However, because there's 3, it's usually going to be either a mid-race or a late race. If it procs in the early race, you usually will be fine. And they can technically super groundwork proc you about 1 out of every 12 to 15 times. Corner skills are great as well. They have about a 1 in 8 chance to be eaten by the acceleration zone because that corner 3 is our acceleration zone, and about a 1 in 8 chance to speed carryover as well. The more accelerations that you hit and the more speed carryover that you hit, the less chance that you have to be eaten by the excel zone. So these corner skills I think are better than straight skills in this particular champions meeting. Otherwise, general mid-race is always good. Keep going. Full throttle requires a stamina debuff of about 175. Full throttle is only about 70 for the white skill. Fast and Furious is a back half, but that is our unique mid-race for late surgers. Nothing ventured, you know what you're doing if you take that skill. Eager is decent. Burning Soul is fine, as well as the white version you get from Track Blazer. And then Measure of Dober Alt is guaranteed speed carry over. I believe it has to technically slightly late proc, but it should be slightly late procking. But it is not that bad, honestly. It's still a 0.15, even if it doesn't speed carry over. The pass combo always works. It's on. Plus playtime's over and slipstream will basically cause you to almost guarantee that you will pass whoever is in front of you. So the first time that you pass in the early race to the mid race, these should proc. Tail health high added onto this will just make it even more powerful, and fighting spirit as well will make this like a ridiculous, like you pass somebody, you proc 5 skills at once, and you're going to shoot forward. So any of these are good on their own, and they are all comboing off of each other to make it higher than the sum of their parts. Killer Tunes is a lobby game role that I don't think is going to be very good on late surgers this time. I think because of the fact that we are going into a frontrunner meta, plus Christmas Oguri, we're going to have a lot of pace chasers because people don't want to build the end closer version of Christmas Oguri because it's hard. So pace chasers and frontrunners are going to be like the most popular roles. And as soon as you get 4 of those, it's very difficult to get into the positions required because you have to, it's a random point on this, which means you have to stay in 5th or better the entirety of the race. They also kind of make it hard for you to hit your backline stuff. Come What May is a good late race skill. We have late race skills are all good pretty much except for Unyielding. I don't like being passed on the final corner. I think you're just losing if that happens, but Come What May is good. It's probably the best one out of all of them. Rising Dragon is the unique late surger one. I believe that's Outer Swell as the white version, and 15 mil CC, even though we are in Excel, in the early race, it does stretch long enough that it is still perfectly fine to take, as well as Homestretch Chaser IBAM as well. So any late race is very, very good, and a lot of these you just grab from your inherits. You can grab Emperor Alt, you can grab Oguri regular. Shadow Break is good, even though it is a final corner pass. You should pass slightly late, and if you hit a 0.4, there is not much time before you actually are at max speed, so it does not get eaten at all. And then the Teos are weird. There's plenty of different ones. You can do stuff like you could even gamble Bark Roll. You could go and do Fuji Kaseki Alt. There's plenty of 0.25s that are very good late race, and even some 0.15s are perfectly fine. I'm gonna grab a drink of water and let's talk about the cards. So, for cards, your borrow slot is thrown when she comes out. You probably shouldn't pull on this card, but it just has too much wit and speed output, and she gives Photon Slash, which is medium corners gold, okay? So, if before Throne comes out, you should have considered these borrows. Now, Kidison Black is very good for Pro Curve. After that, there really isn't many speed cards because this is a wet track, which means that Form Course Menace doesn't work. So I'd probably just run Fuku because I just like how easy it is and how many clocks it saves from having those early race stats. For stamina cards, the only 2 notable ones, Stamina is hard to build, hard to fit a stamina card into these. Keep Going is a very good skill, and perhaps if you are over-stamming because you are running a stamina card, you can kind of swing it. It is about 1.5 mid-race skills, and it has a very, very good speed carryover, something like Nothing Venture, as well as Burning Soul coming from, I believe that is Symboli Rudolph Stamina, which is that challenge that actually gives you a half recovery as well. For power cards, this is really why you would want to run a speed card. Your best speed cards possible is because the power cards have most of your skills attached to them that are great. The Marvelous Sunday free-to-play event card has Fast and Furious, which is very good skill. It's on as Anya Inomiteki, along with a ton of mid-race. Umastand can be grabbed from Agnes Digital, although you probably should be searching for that in Parents, as well as Tamama Cross is an option for 15 mil CC, along with medium corners. There's a lot of supplementary skills on these power cards that help you as well. For Guts cards, you do have playtimes over on Yukino Bijin, and Winning Ticket actually gives you a ton of late surger skills, and is a 10 race bonus card, and gives you On Your Left. So consider that an option in the Guts build if you have a high LB version of her just from spooking her the entire time. You can also get Corner Con on her too, on Bijin. For wit cards, the primary is probably going to be Nice Nature Wit because of the 15% RB for on your left. However, you may be able to sacrifice some wit, especially after Throne gets released and we get just free wit from Throne to do Yukino Bijin and grab No Stopping Me. You also can just run your best wit cards. Fine Motion still gives right-handed and Nimble Nav on a hint. CB still gives Tail Held High. And of course, Mambo is it's on card, but this is the last time I'll probably mention this card because this card, Matikane Tannhäuser Wit, unfortunately kind of just loses out on the wit gen even to the 3LB Yukino Bijin. So its output is just worse than Yukino Bijin, so you might as well just run Yukino Bijin in like every circumstance because it's just it's a much better skill attached to it. But I mean, you can heal 10, which means like, I mean, that's something. Yeah, this isn't a great card, to be honest. For your free-to-plays and your SRs, because you're going to have to supplement with a few of these, the best one probably is Fast and Furious for the Marvelous Sunday Power. Otherwise, grab the 15 race bonus for Nishino Flower. I like using Measure Orion if you want to just guarantee Nimble Navigator. It's actually not that terrible of a card and has 10% race bonus. You have Bijin for Guts as well. Shinko Wendy is just 10% race bonus on a speed card with wet conditions. Otherwise, use Toshin Jordan. That event card is still good. It's 5% race bonus, but she gives you initial stats that allow you to win your races early as well. So she is quite powerful. Also, the Marvy Sunday Wit card, if you're not running Marvy Power, can be used to get Hanshin Racecourse and a bunch of mid-race skills as secondaries. And Agnes Tachyon, of course, has both mediums as well. These are basically your 10% race bonus cards. There's a few other. At that point, you kind of just run the best that you can for stats and race bonus. Let's talk about the characters. As always, I'm going to do a few of the characters. A lot of the strong characters, I'm going to go and finish out the video, and then we'll get through the rest of them, okay? Oguri Cap Christmas is probably the best character on this track in general. However, I don't think that Late Surger gives too much, except the fact that you're just faster than the Pace Chaser. Now, there is no particular heal that Late Surgers have that support the Oguri Cap game plan, so you're basically forced to get exactly Corner Recovery, Soft Step, and 777. You don't want to get Go Moon, really, because you're position binding yourself, and all of a sudden, if you're not in 6th place as a Late Surger because of end closers, or if you're in like 2nd place, or just, you know what I mean, you're position binding for no reason when other roles just have heals that always proc, and the whole point of playing this character is consistency. Be Still can just be locked out. If you get Umastan, you can just push too far forward, and then it procs early, and it's done, and that will brick you. And Small Breather is in the late race, so you don't get speed carryover. And of course, you don't really want to go and gamble Radiant Star, because it's going to just brick your run about 1 out of every 3 times anyways. So I don't think this gives any unique stuff, but you are faster than the Pace Chaser if you are wanting to not have to worry about parents and grabbing end closer aptitude, as well as want to be a little faster than Pace Chaser, and you are willing to basically go and search for Soft Step. For your free-to-play characters, Measure Orion is probably the primary option because it is a 0.4 out of sniping 6th place. She does have Rising Dragon and medium straightaways. Killer Tunes is that gamble that I'm talking about, but I don't think it is meant to be on a Pace Chaser at this stage of the game. She does have 20% power bonus and 10% wit bonus, which are incredible, and that will pretty much carry you and allow you to run a speed wit deck with a solo power card. Grass Wonder is always pretty good as a free-to-play option. She has speed power bonus. She basically is Oguri Cap, except regular Oguri Cap, except that she has just different skills. She has an on-your-left gamble based in kit, so you can go and run a different wit card, and you can take that if you wish. She is also a Dominator, but honestly, she is strong enough in her own right. You could consider just building her as an ace, and you shouldn't build Dominators on your aces as well. Winning Ticket just gives pretty much every single white skill you need. You have Nimble Navigator, you have Late Surger Corners, you have Fast and Furious. I believe you get a couple more as well, but our Ticket to Win is a little bit finicky, but if it does decide to proc, it is an incredible late race skill, just like all the other ones. She has power bonus and stamina bonus, which means your power button is very, very powerful, and you want to lean into that by running some minor amounts of speed sparks as well as stamina sparks and sort of press that power button and that whip button a lot. Machikane Tannhäuser has a heal in kit, which is a little bit tough because you don't necessarily need a recovery in this one. You can just hit 850, but you can drop your stamina requirements by about 100 to 150. She does have Slick Surgeon kit, Home Stretch Hasten kit, and she has Stamina Guts bonus as well, which isn't the greatest, but hey, it has mid-race speed on a Late Surger, which is rather rare, and honestly, 3rd through 6th is not even that bad. For a bunch of strong characters that are not free to play, Measure Dober is probably the primary because of the 0.4. A lot of these characters that are the parents on that I'm suggesting on the other characters are very good in their own right because they just sort of double it. So you hit 5th or 6th and don't get rushed, you get 0.4. She doesn't really give you anything. But then you look and you have 20% whip bonus, 10% speed bonus, so you can't really complain. You run stamina power sparks, you try to go and push your speed, push your power, you're going to hit 1200, 1200, 1200, whether you like it or not if you're running 2 power cards. And you can make very, very good Dobers that can actually rival Christmas Ogre when they actually hit their position. Camping Dober is good for a different reason. To Where the Heart Beckons on her is guaranteed speed carry over. Now, this means that you get about 2.5 lengths, which is not as much as any of the accelerations, but it doesn't really go and stop you from grabbing other accelerations because of diminishing returns. So ideally, you go and make a bunch of grandparents for Dober with 3-star greens, and you basically coin flip Measure Dober alt onto Measure Dober camping. And that allows you to basically get 4 lengths from that, 2 lengths from yours, and there you go. There's your 6th length threshold right there. You are basically on the level of Christmas Ogre when you're in 5th or 6th position. Otherwise, you can grab your No Stopping Me, and she comes with 2 gamble accelerations, which is hilarious to me because From the Brink and Dauntless are like not the greatest ones, but they exist, and you don't really need other gambling accelerations. You just grab these after your mid-race, and they just supplement you in the back half of the pack. 20% speed bonus is also going to help you quite a lot. OG Ogre Cap has Triumphant Pulse, which is, of course, a good skill, but she also comes with Nimble Navigator and Kit, which is great because you can just, throw on your left on her. You can throw your Dober ult and your Ryan ult on her if you prefer, and you have speed power bonus, so you are going to basically not have to worry about your stats too much. She has Cloudy Days as well. This is a cloudy track, and she's just a good character if you are not running Christmas Ogre Cap. She will steal wins with Triumphant Pulse. Cheerleader Nice Nature Go Go Goal actually has value this CM. Longshot is a green and kit. Late Surge is a green and kit as well. She is a Dominator character, but if you want to build her as an ace, she has Power Whip bonus, which is powerful, as well as being a No Stopping Me character, which means you do not have to run Bijan if you want the skill, and you can instead run cards that actually have race bonus and are able to hit your stats a lot easier. Satono Diamond, this is a right-handed track, which makes her strong. Now, you have 15% whip bonus. The stamina bonus is not really going to help you too much, except you might be able to pull away some stamina sparks. But Internal Encompassing Shrine is a 0.35 in most situations. It's a 0.45 when you're basically going to win the game. And Medium Straights and Kit doesn't give you too much, but because of how powerful Right-Handed Demon is, plus the fact you have a 0.45, it's quite good character as well, the CM. Tamamo Cross, I still think you probably should be running her end closer ideally. However, Late Surger, there is a lot of merits to it. It's a lot easier to build. That's why you would go and run her in Late Surger. You get Fast and Furious and Tail 9 in Kit, but again, Tail 9 can also be done in the end closer position. If you had CB Wit and get Daring Strike, I think that kind of trumps Fast and Furious a little bit, and end closers are just faster. Now, White Lightning coming through is acceleration. However, it is final straight only this time, I believe. Yes, this is corner 3 track, so it should be final straight. Second half of the race. This can late proc speed carry over. So second half of the race, I always get Thomas Alt messed up, but second half of the race means this could be mid-race if you are in position to do so. I don't believe it can speed carry over. There may be 1 or 2 frames, I think at Kittison timing, that it might be able to. But a lot of other secondaries in the kit, but mainly Fast and Furious and Tail 9 are what makes this character great. Symbole Rudolph unfortunately can't run Throne. That's her biggest issue. But before Throne, hey, Behold Thine Emperor's Divine Might is a good skill because it's just pass 3. That's what you want to do as a Late Surger, and you come with Pro Curve, so you can run a 10% RB speed card instead of Kittison Black if you wish to. The Stamina Guts bonus is a little bit tough. Agnes Digital has 77807 as the stat bonuses. And she gives a lot of Late Surgers, although this is another character where end closing is very good on her in the current meta, but Super Stand will carry your entire early race, so you just throw all of the mid-race Late Surger stuff on her, and then her ultimate will carry you in the late game. So you just throw mid-race on her. She is very good. She is a powerful, powerful character and can run the dirts, which is a lot of free stats from epithets. Narita Bryan, Shadow Break is safe. If you proc your No Stopping Me, if you proc your On Your Left on a good timing, stuff like that, your ult will not get eaten because you will need to proc those in order to pass people, especially on final corner, and that pass should be slightly late for Shadow Break, which means it will not get eaten whatsoever and you will get full value from it. Now she comes with IBAM as well as Beeline Burst, two great straight skills that will basically carry your late game. After that, you throw everything on her from the cards we mentioned. We'll go over this character in the example builds. Special Week is good because basically if you pass somebody early, Shooting Star adds a 0.1 excel, and if you don't, oh no, it's just a 5-second 0.35 ultimate. Still very good. Now the 20% stamina bonus is tough, but you do get some wit bonus, which is really, really powerful in Track Blazer, and you have IBAM as well to help. Let's talk about a few examples. I'm going to grab one more drink. So I'm going to start with Narita Bryan. I'm going to assume Throne is out. So we're going to go and throw all the skills that she has on her, except IBAM, which we're going to hold back for just a moment because it's the late race and we need to go and prioritize our mid race and our excels. Now we're going to put probably Dope Ryan ult on her, but for cards, we're going to go and run Throne. And Throne gives Photon Slash, which is medium corners, as well as Fighting Spirit in events as well. So we're going to get Throne on her because that is our borrow no matter what, because we're assuming Throne's out. And then we're going to grab a couple wit cards to supplement. We're going to grab, let's say, Yukino Bijin because Throne gives us enough wit that allows us to make sure we still hit high wit with just two other wit cards, with Bijin not having as good of output. So we're going to hold back on your left as well because it is a tertiary acceleration. We're going to put No Stopping Me as our secondary acceleration and throw Ramp Up in as well. We're going to grab Kidison for Pro Curve. We're going to grab Fuku just to go and grab extra stats because we don't really need anything else. And then along with, let's just say there's a lot of power cards you can choose. We're just going to grab the free-to-play event card because of the 15% race bonus to go and pump our race bonus up higher and higher and higher. And I think this is just a very good Narita Bryan build. You can throw on in Body and Mind, and on your left, if you have additional skill points, you can throw on pretty much all the white skills you get from career. And I think you're going to have a ton of skills and more skills that you know with what to do with, basically. If you only have like Kidison Black, this is what we're going to assume, and we're not going to remake for Throne or anything. We're going to make a ticket, let's say. So we have our ticket to win. In kit, you have a lot of different skills like Fast and Furious, Late Surge Corners, and Nimble Navigator. Here's some things to consider with this character. You can go and just grab Kidison Black. That is the one card I said that, hey, you have. If you don't, you just run Shinko Wendy. It's perfectly fine too. You do what you can. Now, Professor of Curvature and Straightaway Depth in the kit added. We go and we add Shinko Wendy for the race bonus. We add, in this case, we're adding Marvy Sunday Wit because we don't need to run Marvy Sunday Power because we have Fast and Furious in kit. So we can go and just grab some minor skills like Tail Held High and ramp up from it, as well as Agnes Tachyon giving us both mediums. Then we just go and pump our race bonus with the Shino Flower Power because we don't necessarily need the Marvy Power. Now, Marvy Power is not bad. It's just we don't necessarily need it. And then our borrow would be Throne, but you can kind of just pick your poison. What do you want? Do you need more race bonus? Grab Nice Nature Wit. Grab on your left. If you want more mid-race skills, grab It's On. Grab Tail Held High. Grab Playtime's Over. Anything like that from Mateki. Otherwise, if you need more stats, grab Fuku because Ticket is very tough on getting speed. I'd probably run a couple of speed sparks and stamina sparks on her as well. Obviously, Throne, when she comes out, is going to supersede all of your other borrows. It's just too many stats as well as that gold skill to ignore. So your checklist before I go and continue all the other characters. Speed is better than power up to 900, is better than wit in my personal opinion from my testing. I think the Stam Guts requirement is roughly 800, 550 without a recovery. If you're lower than that, you can consider grabbing a white recovery, but it is a waste of skill points. It's unfortunate, but I don't think you need to gamble on your wit checks at this point. So 800, 550 should be enough to grab if you're running speed, power, wit, as well as you need probably moving past and beyond. After that, things to add. Let's Pump Some Iron is great as well. Add a Nimble Navigator or No Stopping Me, or an Egg Power or Rad Star, something that's not position bound. Go and grab Umamusume. Umamuse's a great skill. It's not necessarily 100% required, but it will help you a lot. It has such good efficiency, as well as multiple mid-race options. And then finally, if you want, you can add tertiary accelerations like On Your Left, From the Brink, grab your late race, grab more mid-race, grab additional excels if you can, grab more mid-race, grab more late race. Same thing we've done in the other champions meetings. Let's keep talking about characters at this point. That is the checklist. If that is all you're looking for, I appreciate you. Good luck. Now, for the people who want to see some other characters, Yaino Mateki is good as a late surger this time. Only gives It's On, but the thing is that paces don't really have the 6th and 5th slots open to them that much. So you can consider just running her late surger, get a little bit higher speed, has the 20% power bonus, is pretty good with its on. Biano Top Gun has an ultimate that is basically speed only. It's just final corner side block. I just had to write that text. I keep messing it up. She's a late B character. She can be running all 4 roles. She probably is better in a different role, like front runner. But if you want to run her late, she is a no stopping me character. So she is able to just run the additional cards to supplement the fact that she doesn't have any good growth, to be honest. King Halo, Prideful King is basically Oguri Cap alt from 4th or worse, so it's a little bit tough. The advantage for King Halo that she has, and base King Halo as well, is that she can run the sprint, mile, medium, and long races itself. With the long C, you don't really need to pump that up. You can just go and use that to lower the stamina requirements on Tennosho Spring. She comes with Outer Post Proficiency, which is nice, but otherwise this is a clean slate. She doesn't really give you that much. King Halo Cheerleader, her ultimate doesn't really work, and it's not really spring anymore, but you do get Rising Dragon, and some people like having the additional late race rather than having an ultimate that they believe is quite finicky. I think it still procs enough in certain situations that it's worth grabbing, even though it doesn't really do it. I like base King Halo a little bit better, just also because of the 20% power bonus. Asian Flash Valentine, Guten Appetit is basically Baby Rudolph alt. Power whip bonus is good. Comes with a lot of white skills and flash forward, which is basically medium straightaway. So, funnily enough, when Throne comes out, you'll have gold medium straights and gold medium corners. She is a dominator character, but honestly, people don't like Asian Flash win for some reason. I think you should just build her as an ace, let her win. Regular Asian Flash, Schwartz, as long as you don't get rushed and you don't get late started, it's a great ultimate. If you get one of those, your ultimate gets turned off. So it's a very good guaranteed ultimate in the positions where you're winning because you're going to be Dober alting anyways. 20% win bonus is absolutely incredible. And she comes with IBAM. The only thing you got to get past is the fact that you're going to be running Mile B on her and a lot of sparks into Mile for a medium track. Team Upper O, New Year, Bark Roll of Blessings is a gamble. It is 1st through 4th. Hypothetically, you could say in the positions that you're winning, you're going to need to be in 4th in the last 400 meters. But as we know with Oguri Cap, these late race ultimates, you don't necessarily need to. So it is a lot of a gamble for a late surger. You probably will not be winning if you don't proc Bark Roll of Blessings on this character, but she does come with speed wit bonus that helps you. Festival Rudolph, Arrows, Whistles, Shadows, Disperse as a late surger. It will proc in the late race, and it's a little weird because she gives you absolutely nothing for late surger. She just is faster than being as a pace chaser. She has a aptitude, and I think without Throne, it's going to be real tough to win from the pace chaser position as a Rudolph. So I think you might go and choose to run Festival Rudolph in late surger, although the regular one is probably better. Gold City Festival, Dancing the Lead is just a speed skill. You will not be side blocking for 2 seconds after the final corner and actually using the Excel in the positions that you are winning. Otherwise, you get late surger corner, Savvy, apparently twice, and has good stat growth. But I think OG City is just a little better. Now, you don't have as good of stat bonuses. I believe it's Guts and Wit or Power. It's Power. It's Guts and Power. Keep It Real is a 100% gamble. You can't control his overtake. It needs to late proc significantly, so it's probably not going to happen. So maybe you run Festival for that reason, but she comes with On Your Left and Slipstream, so you have a bunch of gambling options in your kit already. So this is kind of the gambling option, and this is the smart option, I guess, at that point, because you can still throw On Your Left on it if you really want to. Manhattan Cafe's ultimate is quite good as always, although, again, the mile aptitude's a little tough on her. 30% stamina is also going to be a little tough. It's going to be tough to hit 1200, but you do get Highlander in kit, and again, her ultimate is basically Daring Strike with a debuff attached to it, so it's very good as long as you're within the 4th through 6th position. Kawakami Princess is a no stopping me character. Unfortunately, she has 20% guts bonus, which I guess if you're running like a hybrid guts build, it could work. But otherwise, the 10% power is all really that's going to happen in the speed power whip build. Princess Must Seize Victory is oddly consistent, even though it is block side continue time on the final straight. She is a no stopping me character with Rising Dragon. She has an incredible late race. You just got to throw the mid race as well as all the excels on her. You basically just put Dober Ryan with no stopping me, and I think this character kind of just plays itself. Machikani Fukukitaru, full armor, is good. Bountiful Harvest is second half of the race. If I'm reading that right, it can technically proc in the mid race. and you should be pressured pretty early, so it should. If it's late race only, I apologize, but it still should be pretty good. It has right-handed. She has right-handed in her kit. And Slick Surge, this is the one that is better, but if you are base Fuku, I see victory in my future. I have talked about this before. Front block is not where you want to be in the late race when you want acceleration or speed for that matter. I think the way you play this character is you just sacrifice for Bijin, you grab No Stopping Me, and you hope that the lane movement from No Stopping Me, combined with the fact that you're about to hit 0.5 acceleration, makes it so that you're able to go and find the line. It's going to be tough, but if you're front blocked and you hit that 0.5 and you're able to escape it, this is actually quite powerful. However, she gives you nothing to help you in any position, honestly. Her skills are just vision-based ones, which is a little tough. Wedding Air Group doesn't give you that much. She has Corner Con in kit for super gamblers, but she has speed power bonus, and Eternal Moments is good. I mean, you just get to the front in the mid-race, and it makes it even better. Ramp Up in kit doesn't really give that much. Regular Air Group doesn't give you anything, but gives you speed power bonus, which is very powerful. 20% power bonus is probably the best stat bonus to have in this particular track. And Blazing Pride on the final corner, if you pass somebody, which you will, it is basically baby Narita Bryan ult, so it will work just perfectly fine. Regular Opera O, Dance for Victoria is going to proc probably on the final straight, not the final corner. But in the situations where you're winning, you eventually have to be close to the front runner, right? You have to be close to the runner head at some point. Although she only has 10% whip bonus really helping you out. Vodka is more of a mile horse, honestly, but she is pretty much a clean slate. She has mile and media aptitude, so in Track Blazer, you can just run her. Cut and Drive is basically third place tri-pulse or worse with a couple of extra conditions that should be satisfying it. She has Slick Surge and kit, but not much else except the 10% speed and 20% power bonus, which is incredibly powerful. Pasa, surprisingly enough, you do get at least speed on the final straight in the situations where you're winning in second. It will probably proc like a home stretch haste, but it's kind of unlikely to proc it the same way because it also requires you to have 30% stamina remaining, so you have to overstam at that point. It's not great, honestly, but 20% speed, 10% wit, you probably just run front door Pasa and you just use it as a late race speed skill, honestly. Straightaway adept in kit as well. Nice nature, just a little farther actually is kind of okay because you should be in third place somewhere within the last 200 meters. All Seeing Eyes, I don't think you take at all, even if you're running stamina debuffer, because this is a spurt track. It's not spurt in terms of you need to spurt rather than survive, and that happens afterwards. So you're not going to kill anybody with All Seeing Eyes. But Mystifying Murmur is a stamina debuff. I don't think stamina debuffs are great. 20% power bonus is great on this character. Cheer Nature is the better version. Characters with recovery ultimates, you might want to try Guts build or lowering the stamina requirement because you don't really have an ultimate to compensate for it. Special Week Summer is probably the best of these because she at least has Fast and Furious. It's on and tail hold high for a ridiculous amount of mid-race and 10% power bonus to help. But if you lower your stamina, you might be able to go and get away with a Guts build at this point. Grass Wonder Healer has like practically nothing to help. I would probably run the OG Grass Wonder. Some B and C characters that you can force that actually might be fine. I don't suggest forcing too much, but Tosin Jordan, of course, is an on your left character and meant to be a late surger as well, despite the B aptitude. Pop and Polish is good for the late race. It's just sort of procs, honestly. You should be well positioned. Biwa Hayahide, still think she's better as an end closer in general if you can swing it, but Biwa Hayahide, when QED, is basically like Bryan alt. Final corner, it'll be towards the front, so it probably procs very late. It's kind of cinemas your Uma, like you saw in the Derby. It's quite good. It's just, again, a little bit weird to run this character outside of pace. Agnes Tachyon has a recovery ultimate, but it at least has target speed. And it technically, second half of the race, you could get to third, fourth, but it's unlikely to do so on that final corner because as soon as it becomes a straight again, this cannot proc. Okay, that's the problem. But she does come with medium corners, medium straights, and she's a Dominator character, which I think is most people running her as late surger or end closer will be for the Dominator debuff. Fuji Kaseki has Lights of Vaudeville, which is a good late race skill that should be able to proc on the length of the straight. 20% power bonus and 10% wood bonus will help you with that as well, although she's C and the Teos are just kind of weird. Their ultimates work sometimes, and when they work, they are very good because they are 0.45s. El Condor Fantasy's ultimate I don't think works very well. It's final corner, which means you should be at max speed at this point, although you do have a lot of gold skills to supplement her for that reason. Now, Nishino Flower, her ultimate doesn't work at all, same with Taiki Shuttle, all that, but she can technically be run in the late surge position. You just don't get really anything to help you with it. I would run characters that are basically primary end closers as end closers. I think end closer position is still quite good. Sweep Tosho, Measure Bright, Gold Strip, Ayabe, Air Shakur when she comes out, and RE1. All these are end closers, and end closers are faster, and they have Daring Strike. I think they are still just as strong, and you should run them in their natural role. And Urara players, I'm rooting for you. That turf aptitude is pretty tough to get through. So that has been the late surger guide. I know I didn't go through every character. Eventually, I'm sure I will get to them, but I hope you enjoyed it. There's just a lot of stuff that is the same this Champions meeting, so I know a lot of it was repeats, but I hope that at least like the Highlander discussion and me talking about fighter and stuff was interesting to you. Good luck building your late surgers. All that's left really is to thank the members. Memberships are available. They're never required, but for those who have given me a little bit more and are in the Borb tier, I appreciate you as well. Appreciate everyone, but I do read out their names, so thank you especially to Kiko Z IRL, Immobility, Mr. Merritt, Crest of Gautier, Lucifel, Oguri Cap Eats a Burger, Peter Van San, Oscar Van Bruce, Misha, Sage, CD Ogren, Etep Pete, Flipper Z, Suez, Vega Vex, Legato, Ryan again, Misk Sloan, Ango Guruputra, JJ, Sosoj, and Sorsor. So I appreciate you all for watching. I'll try to get the other ones out pretty shortly. I might have a video in between. But I'm trying to get these out as fast as possible. We do have some time this time, and honestly, with Throne coming out, we just need to make passable Umas at this point, and then we can go and try to high roll if we want to later. So, take care, everyone. Burb out.